back with the match preview for the Barcelona versus Manchester United game, which is, of course, tonight. Before we get into the preview, of course, we will be doing the watch-along for the game tonight. Details are on my side. So kickoff is at 5:45. So we'll be live for the watch-along at around about 20 past 5. So please do tune in for that. Be there and be square and all that. Link is in the description down below. Why is my laptop going off now? Full of emails. Go away. Let me mute this. Let me mute it. There we go. So coming into this game, obviously Manchester United, we won our last game against Leeds United 2-0. Convincing win. After not quite a convincing performance. Weren't our greatest day at the office, to say the very, very least. But a win's a win at the end of the day. And that's what I kind of take from that game. You're not always going to play your best game. You're not always going to be at your best against a Leeds side that clearly had that new manager bounce. But generally, I thought we didn't let Leeds control the game. It was a very even game, and United took their chances in the end. And I think moving Wout Weghorst into that number 10 role is what really kind of made the difference in this sort of game. And I was really, really impressed with Erik ten Hag's kind of, I can't think of the word, kind of thinking about putting Weghorst slightly deeper so he can hit him more effectively. So then he's able to kind of facilitate the players around him. And we saw that with the Garnacho goal. It's a long ball to Weghorst, who was able to bring it down and then lay it off to the likes of Sabitzer, Shaw, so on and so forth, which creates the goals. And of course, for the Garnacho goal, it was Weghorst that slotted him through from a long ball. So, while we didn't play at our best, I think a sign of a quality team and a team capable of going on to win things is winning when you're not playing well. Winning when you've not put in your best performance. You've maybe been a bit subpar, but you've done enough to get 3 points. You've done enough. And that's what Manchester United did against Leeds. And I think that's, like I say, is a platform to kick on and is good foundations to have, because you're not always going to play well. But the best teams, the teams that win Premier League titles, that win trophy after trophy after trophy, they win no matter what. And that's what Manchester United showed in that game. Now, of course, this is the Europa League game. So how are we here? How are we playing Barcelona in the Europa League? Well, this is how. So obviously, this is our Europa League, how our Europa League draw group ended. Manchester United came second in our group to Real Sociedad. Obviously, we came second due to that penalty that was awarded in the home leg against Sociedad. That Lisandro Martinez penalty. It was never a penalty, but that is the reason. Ultimately, we came second. They beat us on goal difference, but they should never have beat us at Old Trafford. How are we, Munzy, mate? How are we? So that's why we're playing second, and as it says at the bottom of the graphic just there, if you come second in Europa League group, you do go into the round of 32 rather than the round of 16, where we play a Champions League club. The team that came third in the Champions League. And in Group C, Barcelona obviously came third below Bayern Munich and Inter Milan, which means they dropped down into the round of 16 of the Europa League. And then somehow, in that rigged draw, I was going to say rigged, but it was definitely rigged. If you've seen the clips, it was rigged. We got Barcelona. Potentially, almost definitely, the hardest team we could face. The two favourites of this competition, in obviously both us and Barcelona, facing each other in the round of 16. It's very boring, isn't it? Very, very boring. Big up. This is so long ago, and I believe we are much better than then. All good, bro. Just having a good rest at work. Nice to hear it. Obviously, the last time we played Barcelona was in the Champions League, weren't it? The less said about that game, the better. You have to beat the best to be the best. I agree. But like, obviously, I was on Munzy's show on Monday. If you guys haven't subscribed to Munzy, make sure you go over and subscribe to him. I was on his show on Monday, and we were speaking about this Barcelona game, and I think all of us were kind of in agreement that we wouldn't mind if we are to lose in the Europa League. I wouldn't mind it in this game, because the Europa League isn't a competition I care too much about. Obviously, I want to win it, but if you're gonna get knocked out of the Europa League, realistically, you want it to be against one of the big hitters. You want it to be against a Barcelona, a team that realistically should be in the Champions League. If this was a Champions League final, semi-final, nobody would turn heads. The fact that this is a Europa League round of 16 is fucking... It's a disgrace, really. Do you know the only two players to score for United at the Nou Camp? Solskjaer and Sheringham. I swear, did we not score in the first leg? Last time? When we played in the Champions League? I guess not. Oh, against Barcelona. York and Carl. No, I wouldn't have got that. I would not have got that, no. I'd be sitting back thinking, who the because obviously I know we obviously have like the Champions League final at Wembley. Wayne Rooney scored, but obviously that wasn't in the Camp Nou, was it? Or Nou Camp, Camp Nou, whichever way it is. But we'll go into the team news. So for Barcelona, they have got two injuries. Ousmane Dembele and Sergio Busquets, two key first team players for Barcelona, are both out missing. Ousmane Dembele has been a star on that right wing this season for them. And ever since really Xavi took over, he seemingly had got over his injury problems, hadn't been injured for a good year or two. Unfortunately, he has pulled a hamstring for Barcelona, so he will miss for this first leg. Probably misses the second leg as well. I say unfortunately, for Manchester United, the fact that he's missing is brilliant. But it is a big miss for Barcelona. And I think they are a much worse team without Ousmane Dembele than they are with him. Sergio Busquets, very similar. They are a much better team with Sergio Busquets in the team than without. Obviously, profile-wise, very different players. Let's make that clear. Sergio Busquets, an absolute demon in midfield. Controls the game well. Physically, he might not have it anymore. That brain of his is constantly ticking. He constantly knows when the next pass is. Dribbler, brilliant. He's so press resistant. He's an absolute fantastic player, Sergio Busquets. And he's a massive miss for Barcelona as well. Barcelona will play a 4-3-3. And undoubtedly, their key player in this game is going to be is going to be Robert Lewandowski. That man can score goals for fun. And whoever plays centre-back for Manchester United, and we'll get to them in a minute, is going to be in big, big trouble. When it comes to Barcelona, this is kind of how I expect them to line up. Marc-Andre ter Stegen in goal. Jules Koundé, Ronald Araujo, Andres Christensen, and either Jordi Alba or Balde. Balde's been fantastic this season. Jordi Alba, equally brilliant. Balde a lot younger, and he's definitely the future of that Barcelona squad. However, I feel like they might go with that bit more experience than Jordi Alba. Midfield three, Kessie, Pedri, Frankie de Jong. It's a very, very good midfield three. Kessie is a different profile to Sergio Busquets, but in Busquets' absence, I think we will see Kessie drop into that role and might actually be a little bit better for Barcelona in this sort of game. A little bit more of a destroyer and more of a ball winner than I would say Sergio Busquets is. With then a front three of Gavi, Robert Lewandowski and Rafinha. Now, I think it's very... Obviously, if you guys don't watch a lot of Barcelona kind of play in an interesting way. So, what you kind of often see with Barcelona, so they start in this 4-3-3. And what kind of happens is you see Kessie or Busquets and Frankie de Jong kind of almost drift into become a double pivot with with Pedri pushing forward, Gavi then kind of plays as kind of like a wide 10. So he'll come inside as well. And then Jordi Alba or Balde will kind of overlap and kind of make this sort of formation with then Koundé, who kind of plays as the right back. Sometimes he will get forward, but often, similar to kind of what Arsenal do with Ben White, will become a free. So it's kind of becomes a 3-2-2-3 for Barcelona. And what this kind of does, it gives them so much, so many kind of a superiority in numbers and passing lanes. For example, you give the ball to Frenkie de Jong here. Obviously, the back line will shift over. Here, in this situation, you've got the square of midfielders, very technical and brilliant midfielders on the ball. De Jong has the ball to Kessie, Gavi, Pedri. You have the triangles. Obviously, back to Araujo, Christensen, Alba, or you got the crossfield. You've got so many options for Frenkie de Jong in this moment, and the same goes for Kessie. And again, the back line will shift over, becomes a 2, and Koundé can offer himself should he need to. Tactically, this Xavi team is so fluid, it's so well drilled, and it's very, very hard to beat. And when you've got players like Gavi, you've got Pedri, who are very good pressers, especially Gavi. And one of the reasons he is so good playing as that kind of left winger and kind of moving into the 10 is he is one of the best pressers in that Barcelona team. So you want him kind of as high as possible to try and force those turnovers as soon as possible. And I think that's kind of what he does. When defending, they do kind of drop into a 4-5-1. And you have your two wingers helping the fullbacks. And then when they win the ball back, again, you've got these options to play it out. You've got two great dribblers in Frenkie de Jong and Pedri that can drive you up the pitch should the opportunity arise, while you also have someone like a Rafinha and Jordi Alba who are going to be making those runs down the byline, using that pace, using that directness that they have to try and drive the team forward. This Barcelona team, I think it goes under the radar about how good it is. They're top of La Liga by, I believe it's about 5 points at this point. They're very, very good. And because they got knocked out the Champions League, it kind of goes unnoticed in my opinion. Yeah, so they got 56 points. Real Madrid have 48. 8 points clear, top of La Liga. They've conceded 7 goals all season. Scored 43. They are defensively brilliant and just as good going forward. They are a real test for Manchester United today. A real test. And if United aren't at their best, they can put us to the sword. When it comes to Manchester United, this is our travelling squad for the game. So we've got David De Gea, Jack Butland. Well, actually, before we go through the travelling squad, we'll look at who are missing in this game. So Anthony Martial and Anthony are both out with injuries. Martial, he's got a hip injury, the same injury that's kept him out the last few games against Leeds. It's a real shit. We know Martial's, when he's playing, he's a quality player. He just needs to be playing more. And that's the frustration. And by the sounds of it, it's something that's frustrating Erik ten Hag, because it's not even as if it's the same reoccurring injury. It's a different thing every time. It's his ankle, then it's his hip, then it's a hamstring, then it's a groin. It's different injuries every time apparently, and it's so frustrating because when he is playing, I think he's having a very good season. When he started, we've got a 100% win ratio. We just need him to be able to start playing more often. Whatever reason, he just doesn't seem to be able to do it at the moment. Then two big suspensions. Lisandro Martinez and Marcel Sabitzer are both suspended for this game. Sabitzer picked up too many yellow cards for Bayern Munich in the Champions League, and that now carries over to the Europa League, while Lisandro Martinez got too many yellow cards in the group stage. Not one of his yellow cards were actually yellow cards, by the way. Just to throw that out there. Not one of his yellow cards in the Europa League group stage was actually a yellow card. Bullshit. He should be available, but he's unfortunately not. So with that being said, obviously we also know McTominay's out, Eriksen, Van der Beek's out. So this is the squad that is travelling to Barcelona for the game. So it's De Gea, Butland and Tom Heaton. Diego Dalot, Wan-Bissaka as our 2 right-back options. Lindelof, Maguire and Varane as our 3 centre-backs, with Malacia, Shaw and Brandon Williams. You could also throw Luke Shaw as a centre-back option, while potentially also including Victor Lindelof as a midfield option, alongside the likes of Casemiro, Fred, Mainu, Zidane Iqbal and Bruno Fernandes. You then have, for forward options, you got Alanga, Garnacho, Palestri, Jadon Sancho, Marcus Rashford, and Val Veghorst. So again, like we said, no Anthony Martial, and no Anthony. Now, before we get into how I imagine Erik ten Hag and I will line up Manchester United in this game, I thought we'd have a bit of fun and we'd do a combined 11. So this is it. So I don't think there's a lot to kind of discuss with this combined 11. As always, I like to do these combined 11s. It's players that are available. So potentially, Lisandro Martinez could have been in this combined 11. However, because he's not available for the game today, he's not included. Same goes for a Sergio Busquets. Same goes for a Marcel Sabitzer, Martial, Anthony, so on and so forth. Ousmane Dembele. So, with all that said, in goal, Marc-Andre ter Stegen. Matt, clear as day for me. He's a better goalkeeper than David De Gea. David De Gea is a good goalkeeper. Don't get me wrong. Very good shot stopper. So is Marc-Andre ter Stegen. Ter Stegen is one of the best ball-playing goalkeepers in the world as well. Ter Stegen easily makes that goalkeeper spot his. Jules Koundé, then, for me, goes in at right back. He's a very good right back. The job he does for Barcelona, he does brilliantly. Diego Dalot and Wan-Bissaka, considerations. But you look at that defence that Barcelona have, it's very hard not to put Jules Koundé, given that he's important in that defensive structure Xavi is producing. Koundé goes in. Araujo partners Rafael Varane. I think Araujo has been one of the standout centre-backs this season for Barcelona and in La Liga. Again, such an important part to that defensive structure Xavi employs or deploys. It makes sense for him to go in there alongside Rafael Varane, who's a better player than Christensen. Christensen's had a good season. Xavi spoke about it himself. When Barcelona signed Christensen and Real Madrid signed Rudiger, it was Real Madrid that were getting all the plaudits, saying, "Oh, they got Chelsea's best centre back," while Barcelona got the reject. Christensen has been brilliant for Barcelona this year, while you haven't really seen the same from Rudiger at Real Madrid, and it looks like Rudiger to Real Madrid was actually the worst deal out of the two, when many people considered it the better of the two. That being said, Varane's just better. Varane is a world-class centre-back, and despite how well Christensen's done, Varane never kind of was challenged by Christensen. It was always going to be Araujo and Rafael Varane for me. Luke Shaw, look, Jordi Alba and Balde have been brilliant, as has Malacia. Luke Shaw's the best left-back on the planet. And I say that with confidence. I think Luke Shaw is the best left-back in the world. So he easily makes that left-back spot. Same goes for Casemiro. If Busquets was available and fit, then there would be a bit of a discussion. He's not. Casemiro walks into that CDM spot. Again, no discussions to be had. Pedri and Frenkie de Jong make that midfield place the 2-8. They are world-class, those two. Manchester United should have signed Frenkie de Jong in the summer. Have to be doing everything they can to sign him this summer. Because we go over to this screen. This one, sorry. If you have let me get them up. If you have that as a midfield two, you can do whatever, because all the limitations Casemiro has, Frenkie de Jong excels at. dribbling, driving teams up, passing, dictating the tempo of the game. He is unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. And you do everything you can to get Frankie de Jong in if you're Manchester United. And then the front line, Marcus Rashford on the left, Bruno Fernandes on the right, Robert Lewandowski up through the middle. Again, I don't think much has to be really said. You could argue a case for Rafinha over Bruno Fernandes, but I do think Bruno Fernandes deserves a spot in this team. Can play on the right wing, so that's why I've thrown him in there. I don't think you can debate over Marcus Rashford and Robert Lewandowski. So, this is the team I think Erik ten Hag will go with in this game. David De Gea and goal. I think he will stick with Diogo Dalot. I think Dalot's been his first choice right back all season. And as soon as Dalot got back from injury, we kind of seen Diogo Dalot go back into the starting lineup. I don't see why that would change. Varane and Luke Shaw, I imagine, will play at centre half. We've seen Luke Shaw play at centre back in big games. Talking Manchester City in the Manchester Derby, we saw him go back to centre back in that Leeds game. I think all of that sets him up to play centre back in this game in Lisandro Martinez's absence, which means Tyrell Malacia will move out to left back with no McTominay, with no Christian Eriksen, with no Marcel Sabitzer. A Casemiro and Fred midfield double pivot is almost guaranteed. There's no one else really to play there. And then in the front line, I think you will see the same kind of lineup, starting lineup that we saw against Leeds. Rashford on the left, Sancho on the right, Bruno Fernandes at number 10, and Wout Weghorst up top. I think it's kind of about getting your better players on the pitch, players that can create, and players, if you get bodies around them, they can create and win you a game. Bet United to qualify just south of even money. It's a risky bet. I probably wouldn't have done that, to be fair. Barcelona are very, very good. Very, very good. But yeah, this is a team I think we'll see. And I think we could see a very similar game to what we saw against Leeds. We looked for Weghorst. We looked to hit Weghorst and hope that he can then play into Sancho, into Bruno, into Rashford, and then get the team pushing on. It's a decent bet. I would have said the odds should have been a little bit better though for me to bet on it. Evens for me isn't good enough for me to put that bet on. I don't think. But my team is very similar to my team, but slightly different. So this team I would go for. Now, obviously, similar back line. I would go with Wan-Bissaka over Dalot. I don't think Dalot's been at his best. And I think you want some... For me, Jordi Alba is going to be bombing forward. And this is, again, why a sort of similar reason why I've picked Garnacho. When you have Jordi Alba, so you have him attacking. We'll put him in kind of their attacking shape. And then that becomes kind of an inverted three. When Barcelona are attacking, you have Jordi Alba bombing forward. Look at this space here. So much room for a winger, a quick, direct winger to run at him. That is the role of Alejandro Garnacho. Yes, he usually plays off the left, but I've stuck him on the right to be direct, to run in and kind of invade the space that Jordi Alba will leave when he makes that attacking run forward. For that to be more effective, you need a right back that obviously at times is going to need support defensively. But generally will be fine one-on-one with Jordi Alba. And I think Diogo Dalot will struggle a little bit more with that than Aaron Wan-Bissaka. So with that in mind, I would start Wan-Bissaka at right back, allowing Alejandro Garnacho to potentially just play a little bit higher and either say, look, Alba, you either bomb forward and we catch you out, we kind of drive into the space you're going to leave by getting forward, or I'm going to pin you. You're going to get pinned back. You're not going to be able to make this run. And then this space here will have to be occupied by Gavi, by De Jong, potentially Lewandowski drifting out there. And it just generally, Barcelona become a less effective team and aren't able to play their game as effectively. And again, that's why I've then also dropped Weghorst and gone for Garnacho on the right, Sancho on the left. I want to play Jadon Sancho. I want to get bodies around him. I want to give him support. And I think against Leeds, we saw that when he played off the left against Leeds in the first game at Old Trafford. We got bodies around him. Luke Shaw was making overlaps. Fred was making runs. And that's when Jadon Sancho was most dangerous. Rashford as well from centre forward. And I think that's kind of what I want to kind of try and create on that left-hand side with Sancho. Get bodies around him, people running off of him, letting Sancho combine with players. I think that's how you see the best of Sancho. And like I said, I don't think Sancho is that direct, pacey winger. I think he is a player that wants to connect, combine with players, while Garnacho is that player that can go on the inside, outside, looks to run at people, and looks to take people on constantly. And that's why I think while probably in an ideal world, you'd have Garnacho on the left, Sancho on the right, because Sancho can play off the right very effectively, while we've never really seen it too much of Garnacho. I think the profiles of both these players means Garnacho will be far more effective on the right-hand side in this game than Jadon Sancho would be, which is why I would go with Garnacho on the right, Jadon Sancho on the left. Marcus Rashford up top. I think Barcelona will look to control this game, and I want to kind of be able to play on that counter-attack, trying to exploit spaces in behind. I think Marcus Rashford, when he is gone up top, he looks effective, he looks dangerous, and realistically, look, you can't drop Marcus Rashford for this game. So for me, you either play Rashford on the right or you play him up top. I don't think Rashford's very good on the right. I think he's ineffective on the right. I think you lose a lot of what Marcus Rashford is by playing him on the right wing, which means, unfortunately, Weghorst has to drop out. Rashford comes in. I wouldn't be totally opposed to playing Rashford on the right. Again, because he brings those similar qualities to Garnacho, I would just say I don't think you can play a Bruno Fernandes or a Jadon Sancho on the right. I do think you need that kind of direct, quick winger who is going to look to try and exploit the space that we're going to see Jordi Alba leave, or you're going to pin Jordi Alba back and kind of make him not want to push forward as much. Again, making him a much worse player, making Barcelona a much worse team in the process. But yeah, I mean, generally, I do think United can win this game. That being said, do I think United should be going all out for the win? No, I don't. I think, look, two-legged games are so dangerous, and they're different to normal matches and normal competitions. It's all about, for me, making it out of the Camp Nou or the Nou Camp with something. With a game and with a tie to win at Old Trafford. There's no point going to the Nou Camp thinking, we have to win 3-0. Trying to win 3-0. Don't try and necessarily win the game, win the tie at the Nou Camp and lose it by going for it too much and lose 3-0. Make sure when we get back to Old Trafford, it's 1-1. It's maybe we even lose 1-0, but that's recoverable. We lose 1-0, we win 2-0 at Old Trafford. We lose 1-0, we win 2-1, it goes to extra time, maybe penalties, and we'll see what happens. But don't go to the Nou Camp trying to win 3-0. Don't go to the Nou Camp going all out, saying we must win straight away, and then end up losing. Because if you do that, you lose, you concede 2-3, the home game's almost irrelevant. Because you're not going to come back against a team like Barcelona from 3-0 down to win. It's almost an impossibility. And obviously, we've seen teams do it in the past, and people always kind of bring that up. Oh, Liverpool did it We can do it. They're one-off games. Realistically, you've got to give yourself the best chance of winning, the best chance of qualifying, and that is making sure we leave the Camp Nou with a decent result. Even if it's a 1-0 defeat, it's better than a 3-0 defeat. Go bring the game, bring the tie to Old Trafford. Home fans on our side, hopefully in good form, and let's go win the game there and win the tie there and qualify for the round of 32 at that point. With all that being said, I am going to go for a 1-1 prediction. 1-1, yeah, I'm happy with 1-1. Yeah, I'm happy with that. But look, that is going to be it from me today. If you have enjoyed, please do hit that like button below and subscribe if you are new and you haven't already. That would be greatly appreciated. Like I said, we will have the watch along later on. The stream will start at about 20 past 5, with kickoff being at 5:45. So please do tune in for that. We'll go through the lineups and everything else about the game before kickoff, and obviously we'll then watch the game. And hopefully, we'll see United win the game, or at very least, not get dicked. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one in a bit. Peace.